gonna get some snacks of legends, boy.
What were you thinking there? I don't get what the big deal is, cuz. Do I look worried?
Is that Gwuss?
You should be, you idiot.
You said too much back in the dramatic reading like one snide motherfucker. Dude, I was styling with that. And what if people found out what you've done? That last person, that one lady who got like that and had people find out, got so much shit for it. You ready to fuck around with that? And what if I am ready to fuck? I don't like keeping secrets, so if people get the chance to see what kind of a man I really am, I welcome it. Fuck the scandals, I'm real and we rollin'.
How are you this insane? You think you'll be okay after the news gets out?
You already told me about YouTube not sending videos through subscriptions very well, and you said the CC seems to be losing some traffic. Your reputation can't take a dent like this. You say dent, I say progress. This is a part of my next big plan.
Fuck your crackpot plan.
Gwuss, I heard a holy. Who is that? Bobby, this is Gustavo. He's me from a bad future timeline. I'll explain later. Maybe. And I think for Gwuss's sake, we'll keep our mouths shut about what we just discussed. That'll stop you from being pissy. You! I actually gotta get going to cover a video. Turns out I got requested to cover something made by a fan of mine, so I think I've got a little something to have fun with. Have fun with it means I pull some science shit, by the way. Anyways, hooba-dooba, I'll be seeing ya. You know Gwuss? Oh yeah, we've done some stuff together. I just don't remember where you were from. Keep an eye on that idiot. Don't let him do any funny business. Trust me, you'll know it when you see it. Okay, jeez, I don't know quite what's up, but I'll make sure he doesn't act weird. Good. So I tried to look for a video from Manga Common that could use an extra footnote, if you catch my drift, and I wasn't quite sure if I should take this one at first. Because I do know a thing or two related to animals and animal ethics that could fit into this. But I don't know too much about Pokemon, so I still don't know if...
Hello, this is Tricky.
This beat is my recital. I think it's very vital to rock around. That's right, on time. It's tricky. Yo, here we go. Whew, I've been wanting to reference that for so long. Fuck it, I'm going in. If all else fails, I was funny.
It is great to be back, folks.
His look is kind of familiar. Wait, Gustavo, you didn't. You're right, I didn't. Unless you'd like me to bring up your OC Rick West, and a man whose reputation precedes him in the wrong way, I think we can agree coincidences happen. Yeah, you can spare the details, just, don't mention that case. Damn straight.
Why is a person who plays the piano called a pianist, but a person who drives race cars not called a racist?
Are you okay over there? Yeah, sorry, I was just coughing. I'm ready.
So apparently it's bad acting. Okay, cool. Alright, so out of the gate, I have issues with this little skit. Oh boy, presentation issues. That's a real strong point for me to start this commentary off. Yay! Way to turn new look sculpt. But anyway, why would Faulkner, the flying-type gym leader of Johto, be using a Giratina? Out of all the sprites that you could have chosen, why would you go with him?
Cause the Nibba has wings? Like Punky. Who? Don't worry about it. You're spot on otherwise, but this explanation makes you asking why though look like a rhetorical question you actually wanted an answer for. You realize that's a little baffling, right?
Don't answer that. A rhetorical question.
He is a bit of a cock, but he's my cock! Oh, thanks, man.
There are no credentials as to what is or isn't an evil Pokemon. I mean, the concept of evil is a highly divisive topic. No one thinks that they're the villain of their own story. I mean, let me give an example. How about Darkrai from the Pokemon movies? You know, where he was hounded to be the bad guy throughout most of his movie in Alamos Town, even though he was trying to warn you about Dialga and Palkia?
I'm surprised you didn't come up with a metric of what's evil to show them up here. While I see how the matter is divisive, allow me to demonstrate something. If you needed an objective means to define human evil, it could be characterized by the concept of undue harm. In particular, this would include acting out of malicious intent, or being neglectful in preventing harm when one could viably prevent it. Essentially, one would look at it in the same light as being unethical. Otherwise, we'd have to look at highly iffy concepts like sinning, or simply being an antagonist, as you highlighted. What? You didn't think I was a speak no evil monkey, did you? Now this does bring up something important. It is true that good and evil doesn't apply to animals in a practical or scientific sense. The closest thing you'd have when studying animal behavior is prosocial and antisocial behaviors in a species. But, since this is about anthropocentric views in an opinion list, no less, shut up back there, we could use this as a means to judge the list, and the Pokemon by extension. This is all the more relevant considering that Pokemon are heavily anthropomorphized creatures, after all. Some more than others, anyway.
Taking number 10, we have Malamar. This creepy dark psychic Pokemon definitely deserves a spot on this list because it's absolutely psycho and will stop at nothing to make your life miserable. Let's look at lovely Malamar's Pokedex entries. It wields the most compelling hypnotic powers of any Pokemon. It forces others to do whatever it wants. It lures prey close with hypnotic motions, then wraps its tentacles around it before killing it with digestive fluids. Well, that's lovely. It takes over your mind and then it melts you.
When it comes to strong hypnosis, there's an endless number of people who utilize Malamar for their nefarious deeds. With that in mind, who's to say that Malamar doesn't use its hypnotic powers in a defensive manner to protect itself? From people who want to use Malamar or predators who want to eat it.
Who's to say that? Not the writers of the Pokedex entries, I'm afraid. Yes, a Malamar could entrance an aggressor into walking away, but you know as well as I do that's not what the Dex meant when it says, do whatever it wants. Sorry, where was I? Oh yeah, to Malamar, self-defense would just be one of many ways to apply its hypnotic gifts. And if this species has a reputation of using their powers in any way they see fit, I doubt these specimens are being pretty responsible about it.
Which leads into the second problem. It needs to eat. Yes, you can say the way that Malamar eats its food is less than satisfying to think about, but that shouldn't really be a factor as to why it should be evil. After all, in the real world, there are creatures that do pretty much the same thing. There's something really inherently evil about a creature eats its prey. Otherwise, then everyone who eats meat would be considered evil.
Yes, being a carnivore is not evil. Even with human scenarios in which vegan diets are viable, I could make a welfare point concerning wild fauna and mechanically harvesting crops. However, it doesn't mean humans would be ethical to practice unethical methods of slaughter before making our primal cuts. There are ways to avoid pain as much as possible while still getting your meal. Since we're applying human ideals of good and evil to animalistic creatures, let me make a case here. While Nile crocodiles are regular ambush predators that make waterways dangerous for herbivores, they are admirable as hunters if you ask me. They quickly lunge out of the water, grab their prey with their powerful jaws, and then promptly drown their prey to get the kill. And if that doesn't work, they can perform a signature death roll while biting. While these crocs are intimidating powerhouses, you can argue that they earn their meals and work fairly quickly with little prolonged suffering for prey items. On that note, they are fascinating as predators. Now compare that to a similar reptile species named Varanus komodoensis. These giant monitor lizards give their prey a venomized bite, wait for the animal to die slowly as it falls ill to the venom, and then maybe kill them when they start eating their debilitated prey.
Maybe? Are you out of your fucking mind? No!
The neck is one of the most well-known weak points in the game. Every DPS main knows to go for the throat if possible, so by leaving it exposed, you're placing yourself in serious danger.
For large carnivores on land, this is not normal. Komodo dragons are such assholes for doing this that scientists thought they had mouth bacteria and performed septic bites. Yes, as in the venom works so slowly and surely that people thought it was a severe infection. That's how fucked up this species is from a human perspective. Komodo dragons are fucking assholes. Like Komodo dragons, we can talk shit about Malamar's hunting methods relative to similar predators in its taxonomic class. That is, if we compared them to real-life cephalopods. To my knowledge, carnivorous squids don't puke enzymes and acid on prey, and I would talk shit about that, but it turns out that multiple octopus species use paralytic and prodigestive venom on prey through their beaks. So I'm tempted to go easy on Malamar, but there's just one problem. Octopi have to use ambushing and venom instead of mindfuckery. There's no mention about Malamar fully subduing or anesthetizing prey with its hypnotic powers, but it does mention physically restraining prey while feeding. What the fuck? You mean to tell me that they have hypnosis, one of the most powerful forms of it available, and they don't use it to at least calm victims while preying on them? Even Ka from Jungle Book does this better than Malamar, so Malamars kind of look like assholes right about now. Whew, I grew up as a zoology buff and my interests are paying off today.
Only a Shamada can control the dragons.
In episode 19 of the X and Y anime, a psychopathic Malamar devises a plan to manipulate all humans and literally tries to conquer the world. It kidnaps an officer Ginny and forces her to pretty much be its slave. Then it hypnotizes pretty much everyone in the episode so they can work towards its harmful plan to overthrow humanity. What a nice squid thing. They have no human influence, they just want to manipulate, hurt, and rule over everything. You can just look at its face and tail. This thing's mean.
So, are you referring to just the specific Malamar from the anime, or Malamar in general? You see, if it was just the Pacific Malamar, then I wouldn't be bringing this up as an issue, but you're painting the entire species as evil and malevolent. Since, hey, generalizing is fun, I guess. Obviously not all Malamar are evil, but you're kinda making it out to be. Oh, and if you actually wanted something to bolster your case, there are 3 evil Malamar that appear in the anime. They appeared in the episode facing the Grand Design. However, I can also use that episode to prove my point as well, since there were several Malamar that weren't being evil jerks and,
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
Yes, look at the evil Malamar gathering food for Pokemon and being friendly, truly the pinnacle of evil. Like I said, this wouldn't be an issue if you just said it was the specific Malamar, and not just Malamar in general.
Actually, that makes it even worse. The fact that Malamars can be nice on occasion shows that they have the behavioral capacity to understand what mutualistic behaviors are, i.e. good for both parties. Or perhaps you could call it altruism. Hell, I don't think actual cephalopods are smart enough to have theory of mind concerning other animal species like that. Who's to say they aren't being knowingly neglectful of the damage they inflict? Once again, Relier's Finest over here has a reputation of going all psychotic horror on Pokemon and being exploitable as hell with their superpowers. That's not even counting their messy means of slaughtering prey as a carnivore. You showed me a few Malamars being cool, and you think that's not the exception to the norm? No, y'all Malamars are kind of Oh, hello. Fuck off me, I ain't that easy.
The Lovecraftian horror that is Mr. Dink.
Now, what's the top 10 most evil Pokemon, Liz, without including the Pokemon that pretty much started it all? I mean, we had Pokemon like Ninetales who could curse you for 1,000 years, or even like Electrode, who would just simply explode at your face. But it wasn't until Generation 2 when Houndoom came along and really spewed the evil thing.
Your examples are trash. With your first example, Ninetales would curse you when you grabbed its tails, meaning you're provoking it. Hell, if you grab any animal by the tail without warning, most of the time they will react negatively, especially if we follow the trend of using the Pokedex in Pokemon Silver's Pokedex entry. It needs its tails since they're what supposedly keep it alive for thousands of years. Frankly, I'd be a little bit mad if you were messing with the one thing that was keeping me alive too. Now, I say supposedly because, as a lot of people already know, and as I've stated earlier, you can't really trust the Pokedex, because there's a lot of conflicting data in it. A prime example would be Electrode. It explodes when it's bored, it explodes because there's too much electricity in it. So it leads me to believe that you can't really trust the Pokedex because there are several different reasons for why an Electrode would explode.
I'm sorry, what? First off, if you can't really trust the Pokedex entries, then why the fuck do you reference them all over this video? Or let one of them do it for their argument? Seriously, that is not how you take a flawed source of information with a grain of salt. I'd understand if you said, well, this one entry is a contradictory outlier out of the many entries for said Pokemon, so this one is bullshit. But your example of that is a Pokemon being a destructive fucker for multiple reasons? Second, that's not weird when an animal has a list of potential causes behind one behavior. So you don't think that way with an Electrode exploding due to multiple different contexts? I mean, I don't fully get why it's evolved to explode constantly, but the contexts I get. And the boredom explosions? That sounds like a stereotypy if anything. And third, you're missing the obvious counter-argument for Electrode not being a cunt. Dobbs is talking about getting close to an extremely unpredictable animal with a potent defense mechanism. Why would he be surprised to find that Electrode's survival instincts are literally rigged to explode? Hell, you see those bright red and white colors? That's aposematism in action, aka warning colors. Why should Dobbs be surprised that these things are kind of dangerous? A lot of wild animals are dangerous and gotta be that way, but they can also warn you about it.
Patty cake, pasta man!
Now, what makes Houndoom so malicious is due to his natural behavior and his treacherous abilities. According to his Pokedex entry, Houndoom has the ability to spit out flames that will never burn out and will remain painful until the victim dies.
Excuse me? Where in the world does it say that? That the flames are never gonna go out? I've never seen anything like that in the Pokedex. So where are you getting that from is really weird. In addition, as for the burn, yeah, I doubt that. When the game's mechanics, like a burn heal that actually does heal burns exists, it actually makes it so your Pokemon isn't in pain anymore. I doubt the burn lasts forever.
What did you say to me? Oh, hey.
Folks want to argue that the burn heal is man-made and that it doesn't necessarily contradict the Pokedex entry because it might be talking about how Pokemon in the wild may be stuck with an ever-painful burn. 2 words. Rostberry. When a Pokemon could just find one, eat it, and the burn is cured, That Pokédex entry doesn't have much of a leg to stand on anymore, does it?
What? What? Okay, so there's not a never-ending flame, and Pokemon can commonly heal typical burns. That doesn't mean there isn't long-term damage from Houndoom's Mouthfire. Maybe Dobbs got the eternal burn idea from the constant focus in the Dex entries that the Mouthfire burns will hurt forever, or will have pain that will never go away. Emphasis on ever and never. I mean, Dobbs is technically wrong on the nature of the flames, but the mention of toxins indicate that the continued pain sensations are abnormal for a burn. My educated guess? The pain's from gaseous non-combustible nerve toxins in the fire. And I bring this up because there's a big something that Manga and all three of you are missing. Dobbs, did you call Houndoom treacherous for having a nasty bark and bite?
Due to his natural behavior and his treacherous abilities.
That's bullshit. Houndoom is a classic example of secondary defenses against predators. These guys have everything to ward off trouble: long-lasting chemical defenses, warning colorations of black, white, and red, an extra warning signal with Houndoom's shit-your-pants scary howling, and I'm pretty sure that's bone armor it's got. Its anatomy's purpose is to make threatening animals stay away. Would a skunk or a rattlesnake be an asshole for warning you about having chemical weapons? No! Those animals only play hardball when you provoke them, and they have ways to clearly tell you to piss off. Remember, you mess with a Doom, you get the horns. Metaphorically speaking. I know I'm a weird zoology buff, but how did something like this not come up? Hell, Dobbs says this later.
So it's safe to say that Houndoom is a Pokemon that you wouldn't want to mess with.
Yeah, that's the whole point! Damn! I gotta go talk to Pippa and cool down.
Rude.
So it's safe to say that Houndoom is a Pokemon that you wouldn't want to mess with, but he's only number 9. So let's get on with the video.
Actually, here's something interesting. You're not going to bring up any anime references to Houndoom. I understand why you wouldn't, since Houndoom's debut in the anime was this.
Man, that Doberman is high as fuck right now. Oh, and look! A Pokemon not taking shit from a bad trainer! What a novel concept! Malamar. Okay, so part 2 starts playing, and there's a whole lot of shit here I didn't need to say much about. So I think, since I'm on a roll making this video edutainment, I'm gonna squeeze a bit more of that in here. Intermission. Hey, Vsauce! Gwuss here. What if I made a video full of talking shit, jokes in bad taste, and bad arguments about Payday 2? Would it surprise you if I were to weasel out of criticisms by claiming to be an obvious troll? See, it's a little-known phenomenon called intellectual cowardice. There's also the phenomenon of lying, where you say something, and it turns out not to be true. Let's try that out real quick. That quickie video would have been good if I made it, right? Where were we? Oh yeah.
Which could explain Marshallow's actions in the latest Pokemon movie, I Choose You.
Hey, I remember hearing about that movie.
Why won't you get in your Pokeball?
Hi, I'm the fat Pikachu!
The fuck?
You know what the size of this lad? Absolute unique!
Teleporting in at number 5, we have Nihilego. Now, Nihilego is easily by far one of the most terrifying Pokemon to ever exist, and there's a good reason for that. Unlike most Pokemon, Nihilego doesn't have a rational decision-making brain. It only abides by its instinctual thinking, which basically means it only thinks about one thing: survival. So if you were in the Pokemon world and one of these alien parasites saw you, it would already be too late because it would immediately latch onto your head and inject neurotoxins that would slowly wear away your sanity.
And that makes it evil how? Dangerous, yes, but if it's only acting in instinct, then it's not really able to have the concept of good or evil. Also, the Pokedex entries for it say that it's unclear if it's sentient or not, so there's no real proof proving that it does act on instinct or not. Not to mention, the only time we see the parasite Pokemon actually fuse with a character, Lucemine, she seems able to control herself. Heck, she battles you with her Pokemon.
First off, that editing cut.
No.
And that makes it evil.
Please. And... no, that's all for now, actually. Continue.
Not only that, but according to his Pokedex entry, it has been reported that those who are infected by Nihilego suddenly become very violent. So you're not only a walking zombie that's being controlled by an alien parasite, but rather you're a very violent walking zombie that will fight anything that gets in your way. And to put the icing on the cake, Nihilego has the ability to merge itself with its host. So yeah, you're pretty screwed if one of these alien creatures finds you, because you're not gonna live for long.
That doesn't prove it's evil! I swear, this should be the list of the most dangerous Pokemon.
You see, they just didn't care.
Now I know what you're thinking. Maybe Nihilego could be seen as an embodiment of evil since it causes malevolence in humans, a species that thinks about good and evil, and manga can go fuck himself on that merit, right? Nope, Waluigi time. Just because it doesn't work well too often, doesn't mean I can't make a point to agree with manga. I do what I want, America! Anyways, I found something that actually sheds a lot of light on Nihilego. Its real-life counterpart is not an animal, it's a protist. Meet our old friend Toxoplasma gondii, a unicellular parasite with a record of psychoactive effects being rendered on its animal hosts. Loss of inhibitions and pleasure responses, eh, Bulbapedia? That reminds me of toxo rats losing fear of cats and seeking out feline urine. And increased aggression in humans? Well, there is one psychiatric disorder that is apparently correlated with toxo patients. Intermittent explosive disorder. I mean, toxo doesn't cause rage automatically, but toxo's infection rates show that there is an increased risk present with this protist. And why do I mention this? Because of a few important things to consider. 1. Nihilego is not native to our dimension. So what was this species parasitizing normally? Nothing terrestrial, I'd say. And that brings me to 2. I don't think toxo is supposed to infect humans. Its natural life cycle goes between prey like mice and predators like cats. And humans are an evolutionary dead end for these protists, since there's no reproducing in predator intestines when it gets to us. Are humans the best prey items for Nihilego to go after? Given how high aggression in its host doesn't provide biological fitness for Nihilego, I think not. Nihilegos aren't assholes, they're just stuck with the wrong food. It occurred to me that I could say I'm showing up manga by saying this, but how many people would have one-up MatPat right there? I'm an anomaly, baby.
Fucking science!
You see that smile? Do not trust it, because that is not a smile filled with sunshines and rainbows. Nah, it's usually smiling like that whenever its victim is crying in pain. We have other Pokemon such as Hypno that can eat your dreams and possibly be a kidnapper, but at least it doesn't sting when they murder something. Let's read Gorgai's lovely Pokedex entry. It enwraps its prey in its hair-like arms. It sings joyfully as it observes the suffering of its prey. They take delight in seeing their prey slowly die in front of it.
Wait. Okay, I know I'm bringing back arguments from my shitty solo commentary on our top 20 creepiest Pokédex entries, but here the question stands out because we're talking about how the Pokemon is evil, not how creepy a Pokédex entry is. How exactly is Gorgeist even killing its prey? For all we know, it could just be singing a song, and the mon it's singing to could just be struggling to get away because Gorgeist could just be horribly tone deaf. There is next to no information to go by here.
Okay, Gale, the victim Pokemon doesn't die. But there's still enough info to call Gorgeist evil. Remember, it says it observes the suffering of its prey. That tells me Gorgeist has to notice that its prey is suffering based on many cues and not giving one fuck anyway. It has to know what it's doing because it's not observing the cries or movements of its victims. According to the Dex, it's noticing suffering. And with that negligence against harm, how is it not an asshole?
Also, look at its dead vines of arms. How can a Pokemon not break free?
If it's a small— Oi, fucking rude!
This is on another level of cruel. I know that there's a lot of carnivorous Pokemon, and just like real animals, there is a food chain. Instead of just killing their food and chowing down, this thing literally plays with its food in the worst type of way.
If you knew this, why did you paint a lot of your entries ignoring that and paint the Pokemon for evil just for following their natural order?
Because Komodo dragons don't give a shit. Nature or not, a zoology nut like me can't give them an excuse for cunting like a hunt. Fuck you, Komodo dragons.
Haven't ever seen a reptile come. Evoltal is literally the definition of an evil Pokemon. Not only is it a dark legendary type, or should I say an evil legendary type.
Alright, stop. There are a few things I need to bring up. First, it's known as the Destruction Pokemon, not the definition of evil.
Wait, how did I define evil earlier when you didn't— It could be characterized by the concept of undue harm. Boy.
Don't call me evil, I'm just out for myself.
Hey guys, what the what here, back again from Manga Common's basement. Hi, he won't let me out. He said he wanted a cameo and he won't let me out.
Okay, hold on. We need to talk. So I can forgive the acting that sounds like your name is Anson Myers Johnson, but the volume mixing is a problem here when you contrast Dobbs and manga talking with What the What's low audio levels. This just has me asking, what the— Fuck.
But the Middle English spelling of the word evil is seen directly in its name.
Oh, I see, because he has the word evil in his name. Ah, yes. Yes, Houndoom has doom in his name. Doom.
Doom, because you cannot destroy what cannot die.
And obviously, Houndoom is an evil Pokemon by nature. It's not like it's just a aesthetic choice or something.
This is a black thing, isn't it?
Now what puts Yveltal on top of this list is due to his natural behavior and his role in the Pokemon world. While Exerdius was made for creation and life, Yveltal on the other hand was made for destruction and death. Which basically means Arceus created this legendary Pokemon to destroy and kill things. He's basically the Beerus of the Pokemon world.
Ah yes. Ah yes. I do remember watching 5 seconds of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Battle of Gods.
Okay, since I don't know much about Dragon Ball here, I'm probably just gonna set this out. This reminds me of the time when Simba from Lion King got killed by the mob. Mufasa had to give an order on that bratty kid, so they took him down to the old train station we called the Elephant Graveyard. You know, cause he couldn't wait to be king and he tried to fuck with the boss. Sky wasn't too happy about having to carry out the orders, but Simba should have been prepared. Moral of the story? Don't fuck with the mob.
Are you stupid?
Whoa, hold up, bro. You got quite the mouth on you. I'ma fuck it. Look, I can deal with the low audio levels or lacking acting to some degree, but you're getting sassy while explaining antagonists aren't automatically villains, and Beerus destroys what's gotta be destroyed for the greater good. See, that took me, how many seconds? It took him roughly 2.5 minutes to explain that, with a painstakingly bored-sounding and quiet bit of narration. With all due respect, can you not make me regret watching this cameo? Like, I know I get into long-ass tangents, but I hope I don't drag like this when I discuss fucking science.
Power mad, I tell ya!
Oh boy, there was a lot going on here. From misinformation, from making information up, from not taking advantage of actually working together. Seriously, it's something that has actually surprised me. I haven't watched Dobbs in about over a year since my last commentary on him, and that was an issue there too. There wasn't any actual collaboration between the two creators.
Yeah, that kind of cameo just got worked in without much interaction or chemistry between... Hey, wait a minute. I mean, let's not forget that Gale's cameos didn't suffer from this problem. Credit where it's due, right? But I'm surprised that in a video where you just got onto this duo for a lack of synergy, you drag this dude out of your basement, literally, that's actually in the plot, and not even have him work on the same audio level as you. I mean, this could have been his bad, but you didn't fix it in post, so... the hell? You didn't even pull a...
Back again from Manga Common's basement. Hi, won't let me out.
Or anything like that. Okay, to end this and get into the final thoughts, I have questions about many things, about life, about how Dead Rising 4 happened, and why Snowy's persona is so adorable. Wait, no, that's not what I meant! But those questions aren't relevant here, I just wanted to say them. What is relevant here is why you didn't come up with an impromptu qualifier for a Pokemon being evil. Yes, it's a human concept, but imagine how much you could have showed up Dobbs and Tricky by getting them on not even anthropomorphizing animals correctly. You'd not only have a metric for something they didn't even say much about, but you'd also show them up by demonstrating how shit didn't qualify as evil according to, say, a definition derived from rudimentary ethics. But would I call this video bad? Nah, fuck that. In case you didn't realize, you got me in my zone back there. And I'm sure the zoological angle was an unexpected perspective on this, because once again, I don't know shit about actual Pokemon. I mean, I know, praise Helix, Diggersby though, don't fight plants with a fire hose, Octillery's a fake mollusk piece of trash, and there's a lot of porn of trainers. That's about it. So, yeah, I wasn't expecting you, or many people for that matter, to talk about topics like I did. Besides, I've been dealing with other shit lately that's way worse. Let's just say I've seen a crowd that gives the Komodo dragons a run for their money. Pun very much intended. But then again, I need to have long-lasting venom and running off too, if I had to compete with commentators. Ranting community? I heard about you turning on one of your own, and as a commentator, I'm not impressed. Gwuss, maybe chill a little? What? I don't want to see you go all dead video on someone like last time. That was kinda scary. Don't you worry, Bobby, I'm already done here. Unlike ranting fans, I'm not big on prolonged stuff. Gwuss, no funny business. I'm done for real, I'm done. You didn't even try to stop him. Yes, I did. I tried, but he keeps getting away with it. Clearly you didn't, because he still got away with being a weirdo earlier. You didn't say a word about it. What? Okay, look. I heard you and Gwuss talking earlier. I know this is about one thing he's doing in particular. And I think I know what's up. Look, the puppy mill thing isn't the first time he's been brutal with someone's rep, was it? I know he seems kinda messed up for playing judge, jury, and executioner with someone's social standing. He does it without even trying when he's calling people out. But I know him, and I know it has to be coming from a good place. So, what exactly did he do that was so bad anyway? What are you talking— Bob, this wasn't about him talking shit. And for the record, fuck the puppy mill vid. Then what did Gwuss do? You didn't stop him from making those unexplained passing references. The ones that go by quick and don't make any sense. I know what he's up to. Really? What's so bad about those in-jokes? I can't tell you because he's not supposed to allude to that in the first place. If you want to know so bad, why don't you ask Gwuss about his Freedom Trail plan? But hey, maybe he'll be all cryptic and keep referencing Fallout 4 instead. God. What is going on here?
Sweet child of mine, you're special.